The thought originated with an idea that the Burren College had some years ago, that everybody is creative. That is to say, everybody has the potential to be creative in everything they do. So that led to the idea that creativity should be taken out of the confines, the limited confines of the art studio, and should be made available more widely. Education is the most fundamental of all of our systems. It's the one that transmits our values. It's the one that forms the consciousness of a next generation. There is no bigger lever in society than education. The sense was, how do we help the system from the periphery of Ireland on the Burren's edge, from an art college on the edge of the system? How can we help the system to reimagine an education that is fit for purpose in the 21st century, at a time when volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity are the new normal? Our intention was very clear from the start that this needed to be an all-embracing conversation. So we reached out to everybody in as many corners of the system as we could, from the policymakers, the academy, the teachers in the schools, the students. We thought the students were a crucial voice, because in the new system, their agency needs to be central.
The process was designed to be as inclusive as possible, by which we mean that there was plenty of space for the many different voices represented within the event to come through. So it was not an event dominated by the voices of a few experts. It was a discussion driven forward by the ideas and enthusiasm of many experts, some of whom were students, and some of whom were teachers, and some of whom were very senior in education.
Divergence, transformation, convergence would be a conventional model of creativity that has been given a new expression in Otto Scharmer's Theory U, which again opens space to infinite possibility, goes into a deep place, a deep dive below the normal ways of framing and contextualizing subjects, allows people to go in a much more real and a deeper level, conscious that for serious systems change work to happen, there needs to be a transformation in consciousness.
Component parts, so I would imagine component parts are really trying to will influence these conversations. These are the tensions. Let's talk about what we think.
Our facilitators divided the conversation into 4 main strands. One was a macro strand, and that was using a process called social presencing theatre, which is using embodied knowledge, getting us out of our collective heads and into sensing with our bodily faculty, which is a hugely underappreciated and understood faculty, what the system feels like, and getting people to sculpt that reveals aspects of the system's functioning which would never be obvious from a purely intellectual engagement with the system. So that was a very powerful and strong way of working. Another strand looked at the micro level of the coalface of the student in the classroom. And in that particular strand, in a wonderful inversion of the norm, the facilitator handed the facilitation to the students, because that's where the agency needs to reside in the future. A third strand was simply working with visual media, allowing us to take artifacts, not necessarily paint, but ordinary everyday artifacts, and construct visual representations, again, to get us out of our heads and into new ways of visualizing the system. And the fourth strand simply looked at, where are the white elephants, the pink elephants, the holy cows, to ask questions that are not normally asked, to begin to tune into the unheard voices, the unheard assumptions, the deeper questions which do not get airtime in normal discourse. So those were the 4 strands of the conversation, and they fed into plenaries, and they cross-fertilized and enriched and led to a kind of a symphony of understanding that was emergent throughout the 3 days of the conversation.
it's been incredible to see how those initial fears and worries and people's sort of, the baggage people were bringing, how it's just been it's slipped away over the past couple of days.
It allows you to start thinking differently about things, and it takes you out of the environment of the system to start looking more reflectively at the system and think, well, how can this change?
I play music sometimes, and if I'm in a good place myself, if I'm able to play from deep within, then I can reach people's hearts. And if you can reach people's hearts, they let down the barrier and the shield. And when you let down the barrier and the shield, then I think the quality of that conversation improves a lot.
What really struck me about this was how it worked so successfully on different levels. It really did succeed in binding people together and creating friendships and removing little anxieties or nervousness about each other. So that was really fundamental because it opened people up. And then secondly, the process itself, which allowed us to go very deeply into the issues. That surprised me that you could do that as well as forming the friendships. And then thirdly, and this really surprised me, was how it surfaced huge amounts of content, of real rigorous content. So it was a combination of those three things. And of course then the atmosphere here and the place is so conducive to all of that. Those were the things that really struck me.
I think the really remarkable thing about this event was that not only did it give us time to excavate the values at the core of creativity and education and creative education, but critically it enacted them. Every session, the whole event enacted the values of really creative pedagogy, and I found that really truly inspiring.
We need a new model of leadership, a model of leadership that is based on creativity and underpinned by values that see caring and love as part and parcel of our education system.
Seeds of conversations have happened because it was a very rich group of people, and we won't know where they all land, but I would be hopeful that some other very interesting ideas will emerge. And I suppose one of the conclusions I got out of it was actually there is such a breadth of people across the system who all desire a more creative educational system and really want to educate the heart of our students, and they want them to be full people who actually have the skills and the confidence to face the uncertainty of the future and all those challenges. And that is really encouraging.
The love, that you need to love what you're doing, and that it's possible to love the things in education if it's gone about it the right way.
It was an amazing experience at both a personal level, but also I think at the level of helping us to find clarity around how we might move and inch things forward.
Everyone is very good to listen to us, and the students' opinions are being heard, and they're probably one of the loudest here at the moment. And people are actually listening and interested in what we have to say.
Change for the better.